Welcome to the Leapfrog BI Academy Training Series, Episode 1 of Avoiding BI Disaster. We're going to explore some frequently repeated reasons why business intelligence projects fail. Before we get started, let's see if this is truly a problem. How are BI projects doing? Let's take a look at some popular sentiment about the success of BI projects going back to the beginning of last decade. 2000-2001, people threw around statistics of data warehousing projects failing at 70, 80, and 90%. A lot of that proved to be overblown urban legend, but the amount of disappointment was still significant. Mid-2000s, by 2005, Gartner was getting into the habit of proclaiming and forecasting failure of data warehouse and business intelligence projects. They were projecting over half of data warehouse projects as failures or near failures. And according to Gartner, it got worse. A vast majority of BI projects failing, according to their 2011 report. Which brings us to February 2013 at the Gartner Analytics Summit. The panelists there, not Gartner Analytics analysts themselves, mind you, were asked to make a guess at failure rate, and they reached a consensus of about 70%. So the answer to the question, do BI projects live up to their billing, is pretty clearly no. Certainly not very often. Why or why not? Well, before we start getting into some of the reasons why BI projects fail, let's take a moment to talk expectations. After all, most of the time, we're not really talking about outright failure, though sometimes we truly are. We're really talking about disappointment. It's like failure in snack form. It still tastes horrible. So about those expectations. We're going to continue quoting Gartner for a minute. This year's report of top 10 CIO initiatives, analytics and BI, number 1. Let's wind the clock backwards. Last year, number 1. Year before, well, it was down a bit, number 5. Before that, it has never been below top 5, and it has usually been 1 or 2 for 15 years. In other words, expectations have consistently been high. The attraction to BI and analytics is huge. Everybody wants it, but it frequently doesn't get companies what they hoped. BI potential, which has always been high, keeps getting better. But companies keep making the same errors. All the potential of big data, predictive analytics, mobile analytics, etc., but many errors that companies were making in the 90s are the same that caused them to fall short of expectations today. We're going to explore the reasons we've seen throughout this series, but we're going to start with organizational strategy factors. Error number 1 that we're exploring in this video, poor understanding of decision culture. This is very sneaky and may harm projects more than any other error that I've seen, frequently without anyone realizing it has happened. Symptoms come in a few different forms. Symptom number 1, does anyone really listen to the analytic people, the data scientists? This is the one that has gotten much more attention with the advent of big data, which is also the harbinger of the advent of the term data scientist. The data frequently tells stories that run counter to intuition and analog experience or tacit knowledge. Do you have data scientists? Yeah? Great. Are they listened to? Data is enough for some people, not for most though. They need proof. They need stories. Your data scientists have to be able to make the case. They must be persuasive. How about the other symptom of the decision culture causing problems? The question, what decisions are we impacting? Really, seriously, completely, and how are we impacting them? In August, James Taylor at Decision Management Solutions was at a Data Warehouse Institute conference, and he had a catchy turn of phrase, borrowing from Stephen Covey. Start with the decision in mind. Business intelligence, even mediocre business intelligence, can be so obviously better than the legacy reporting. dashboards and easy to understand charts and exception reporting, etc., is so much better than manually maintained spreadsheets and inflexible, slow reports that it is human nature to just think life's going to be better when the BI project's done. And maybe it is better. But as we've seen, it is not better enough. It is consistently disappointing. That's because all of the focus is typically on the data, on the sources, on the user interface. Obviously, very crucial. But so often the thought about the decisions being made is a vague reference made in passing at most. The result, nothing changes. People go back to their old habits, and BI underwhelms. What's the solution? Well, as usual, awareness goes a long ways. People don't talk about decision cultures. Think about it. Talk about it. Identify the decisions being made. How do those impact the business? How can the business be made better? Some of this is basic change management, understanding the politics, agendas, motivating factors of different people involved and not running head-on into their forces. BI certainly doesn't have the market cornered on being too dismissive of change management, but this is where you see it happen. Much of this can also be made better with an agile approach. Incrementally make progress so that you can learn from the mistakes and the feedback. And find the stories to tell. Nothing in this world is more persuasive than a story. Thanks for watching. I hope this was helpful. Please stay tuned to this channel for the next episode of Avoiding BI Disaster. What really happens when development, business, and IT ops aren't all included. Thanks again. See you in the next video.